Do you have a half marathon coming up and you're not sure what to do from a nutrition standpoint during the run? Maybe you've had some people talking about gels, or you've used gels in the past. You've looked at the back of the packet and you thought, right, I'm just going to follow that guidance and hope for the best. Maybe you want a little bit of extra detail on how many grams of carbohydrate per hour you think you need to maximize your performance. Hi, I'm James Hudson. I'm a performance nutritionist and ultrarunner, but recently I moved down to the half marathon distance to try and go for a PB. I'm very fortunate that everything went perfectly well, and I actually hit a 10-minute PB on my half marathon time, moving from 1:31 down to 1:21. I'm going to try and detail what I did on that day, but actually I'm going to do it with more general advice so that you can take information from what I did and apply it to yourself. That's the key thing here. I want you, by the end of this video, to have complete confidence with how you're going to fuel your upcoming half marathon. Let's start things off with how much carbohydrate do you need? So this is obviously going to depend a little bit on the duration. The half marathon distance itself is locked in. However, depending on your fitness level and your running ability depends how long it's going to take you. If you are super fast and you're going for world records, it's going to be that 60-minute time. If you're very fast, it's sort of in that 70 to 90 minutes. And then we're going to progress right the way through to maybe up to the 3-hour range. Interestingly, that window fits really neatly into some of the sport nutrition best practice guidelines for fueling. Because anything up to 60 minutes, the recommendation is between 15 to 30 grams of carbohydrate per hour. But because we're not going to be running with that duration, it's what's the next step? So duration of 60 minutes to 3 hours, the sport nutrition guidelines are anything between 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour. Now, if you are looking to run a PB, if you are looking to make the run as easy as possible, then having more carbohydrate and getting to the top end of this range is going to be the advice I want to provide, because it's going to make the run, when you have that extra carbohydrate coming in, it makes you perceive the effort as a lot easier. You've got more substrate to allow for intensity, so you might be able to shave a little bit of time off like I did. Okay, if we are looking for that 60 grams per hour, it actually makes the maths really easy. So all we need to do is convert the amount of time that you're planning on running your half into minutes, because then we just have to hit the amount of minutes in grams. Let me explain what I mean there. If you are looking at running a 1 hour, 30-minute half marathon, so this was my goal going into the run I did in the end of February, it's 90 minutes, okay? Because it's 90 minutes and 60 grams per hour, the math's really easy. We are looking for 90 grams of carbohydrate. So my plan to achieve 90 grams of carbohydrate was keeping it super simple, and I just had 3 gels, all of 30 grams of carbohydrate. So I timed it. I always try and keep the split fairly even in terms of the timing. So I did 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes. Easy. Then I know that I'm drip feeding carbohydrate in, and I'm going to be hitting my 90 grams over the course of that hour and a half. Each of those were 30. Now, gels will vary. Sometimes they're 20, 25, 30. You do get ones at 40 as well. So bear in mind which gel you're having. They're not all the same. You can also adjust the gels depending on what sort of number that you want. So if you're a 1 hour 40, that's going to be 100 grams that you need to try and build an amount of carbohydrate in. If it is, let's say, 2 hours, that is 120. So then we would be saying, right, maybe we do 0 minutes, we do 30, we do 60, we do 90. If each of those, if we have 30, and when I say 0 minutes, if you have something 2-3 minutes before you start, it's a really nice fueling strategy for that first bit. And then we have something here, here, and here. Again, we're going to be hitting the right sort of numbers if we're 30, 60, 90, 120. Okay? You can do all of that with those 30 gram gels. Another way of doing this is if I were to change my strategy here and use some liquid carbohydrate. So let's say I wanted to get my 90 grams of carbohydrate here, but I wanted to have something at 25 minutes and then something at 50 minutes. So I'm going to break it up a little bit. Each of those was still 30, but I also added in a carbohydrate drink. So I had 500 milliliters and it was a 6% solution. So 500 times 0.06 is 30. 6% solution is isotonic, so it's the same as a Lucozade. It's quite good for fueling and hydrating at the same time. So I also had 30 grams of carb as a liquid. That is also going to mean I've consumed 90 grams of carb over that 90 minutes. I hope that very simple piece of advice has been helpful. Remember, if you're going for a half marathon, you're going to be running in this range, then I would recommend going for that 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour. So work out how long you're going to be running for, convert it into minutes, and then plan your nutrition during the race to hit that number. My final bit of advice for you is, instead of just doing this on race day, is to practice that in training. So what you want to do is look at runs of similar duration if you have one. So it might be where you're going at slightly lower intensity and there's a warm-up bit, and then you've got a block session where you're going to be running maybe for an hour and a half. Practice the same timings and practice with the same products. That is going to teach your body what is coming in, and it's going to give you the confidence that, right, I know I can handle that amount of carbohydrate and actually I feel really good on it. If you enjoyed this type of content, sorry it's a bit maths heavy, maybe I should get out and actually make it practical with holding gels and stuff. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel and comment below if you're going to be using this, because I'd love to hear how it helped you achieve your PB too.